Hello, everyone. Let's give to everybody some time to connect today. Nice to see you. It has been a while. Well, first of all, I would like to thank the agency, Ruler of Real Estate, that gave us this opportunity today and have me as a guest to discuss about the new developments about the Golden Visa. I am sure that everybody is very excited to know what is new, what has changed, and what is that we still can do because we do have a period of time. They gave us a transition period in which you can still invest with the same rules. Um, Okay, so you can see me now. Yes, hello. We took 1 or 2 minutes so more people can join us. Let's discuss a bit before the main subject. Where are you calling us? Where you are seeing us from? And where you are at the moment? It would be very nice. Here in Corfu, I would like to share with you that on Sunday, most of us actually did our first, um, swimming at the beach. So it was lovely. And we are very excited for everybody to come and enjoy our beautiful beaches and, the food and Greece and everything. Uh, UK. So we have here with us today from UK, from California. Welcome, everybody. Um, and another one from UK, from Georgia, south coast of UK, New York. Special thanks to all the people from USA that are today with us because I know for you is super early. So special thanks for you, everybody. Of course, I'm very excited that you joined us today. Hello from Cassiope. Perfect. So you are on the island. Very nice. I hope you're enjoying. Today, yes, indeed, is raining. That was what I was going to tell you today, that we are back to spring. But on Sunday, we really did went on the beach, and I don't know, it's a bit crazy the weather, I suppose. But we enjoy our green island from South African, now on Corfu. Very nice. So you're also with us. Easter is coming. Have that also in mind. If you don't know about Easter in Corfu, please check it out. The festivities are so amazing. All the philharmonic bands go outside, and people from all around the world just come. It will be now the 5th of May, Easter, Orthodox Easter, and Corfu is the main attraction for these days to see the spectacles. Now in Corfu too, weather was perfect. I hope you enjoyed. So let's start. I see that everybody is very enthusiastic. You can keep sending, of course, messages in the chat. Any questions while we are speaking? I will try my best, as always, to answer. If something is missed, apologies from now, but we will do get back to you later with an email. Have in mind that what we will discuss now is general. It is just a guideline, let's say. Of course, each case is different, and I highly recommend to ask for a personalized session so we can go through your specific case, your specific needs. If you have found the property, perfect, then we can discuss even in more detail about next steps. So this is just for guidelines. I'm sure you will have seen many articles, many different things on internet, and you might get confused or what is happening, what will happen. Well, we made sure for this presentation that our sources were very legit. We are based also in the official statement of the Notaries Association in Greece, who took the new law and regulations and explained how this will work. So we do hope that we give you for the moment being the best possible understanding of the new rules, and what you can do and what is your benefit if you act, quickly and you proceed with property now. Uh, Okay, looking forward for the Easter here. Someone says, yes, me too. Everyone is. And really, if you haven't experienced it, I hope you will do soon with your own property in Corfu. Come and see Easter. It's beautiful. So let's start. Uh, for everyone who is new on this subject and might have more questions about what is the golden visa, why should I even get a golden visa, I highly recommend to check our previous webinars, which explain very, very thoroughly why someone should get a golden visa and which are the benefits. You can see that we also did one about the taxes and what the related costs actually when buying real estate in Greece. So you have that in mind also. So I will not go through that so much at this one, so we have enough time to explore the changes. You have in mind though, with the golden visa in Greece, you can stay in Greece without the second visa. You just have the golden visa for 5 years. You can travel freely to the Schengen area, Europe. You can bring your family together with you. You have access to the healthcare system. You have access to the educational system. So it is really a great option. So more details on that on previous webinars. So what is the facts as we know them so far? What applies now, the moment that we speak? In Athens, in Attica area, okay, in some areas of Attica, in Thessaloniki, Santorini, and Mykonos, the threshold of the golden visa is 500,000 euros. For the other areas, it is 250,000 euros. That is what it applies now. So if you buy a property in Athens or in Athens, let's say in Glyfada, now it's 500 euros. If you buy it in Paxos or if you buy it in Crete, it's 250,000 euros. So that is what applies now. So that has changed. I'm sure this is a change that you have. Uh, oh, sorry, I see. Okay, so someone says about the sound when I'm closer. I will try to keep that in mind so you hear me better. When you see something right now that is at 250,000 and it is in areas like Corfu, Paxos, or Crete, with the way I will explain to you later, you can still get a golden visa at this threshold. What's new in the golden visa program? So some things will change after the 31st of August 2024. And the main thing is the entrance point, the price of the property that is required for you in order to get the golden visa. So again, in regions of Athens, Attica, Thessaloniki, Mykonos, and Santorini, the price now is 800,000 euros. And that can happen only if you invest in one property of 120 square meters. So it's not allowed anymore to combine properties in order to reach this amount. This will apply also in all islands, including Mykonos and Santorini, as we said, that they have population of more than 3,000, and 100 inhabitants, permanent inhabitants. That means that Corfu is included in that. Paxos, as we see, is not included, and the threshold for Paxos is set for 100,000 euros. So any island With less than 3,100 people, will be at 400,000. For everything else, for we discussed like Attica, Thessaloniki, Mykonos, and Santorini, it remains, as we said, at 800,000 euros. Now, which are the exceptions to that rule? And that applies from the end of August, okay? Not yet, from the end of August. So, what will be the exceptions to that? These are a bit too complicated exceptions. That's why they are exceptions at the end of the day. So I will try my best to explain them both. One is if you do restoration at a listed historical building. In Greece, we have some buildings which are considered historical and they are listed by the government, and um, it requires for someone to do the restoration to do them exactly and bring them back to the state that they were. Uh, okay, sorry, another message for the sound. If okay, so from our end it is okay. Please also see at your devices if you need to adjust something. If I'm not heard correctly, I will try my best though to reach you. Um, so back to the restoration buildings, you need to have in mind that if you buy a restoration building that is considered listed for restoration, it means that we need to bring it back exactly the way it was when it was originally built. The perfect example for that is the old town in Corfu, which is also characterized as a UNESCO monument. Uh, you know that when you buy something like that, you need to restore it exactly to the way it was, or at least with the regulations indicated by the archaeology authorities on the island, which is a complex but not impossible procedure. The thing is here that you can still buy, for example, a property that needs restoration. It's not restored, it's not ready, and it's just a listed historical building. It requires restoration in the historical zone of Corfu town, let's say, or in Plaka in Athens, um, and get it for 250,000 euros. So this is something that it will enable you to buy a property with this price, of course, with certain restrictions. Within the 5 years that the golden visa, you need to complete the restoration in order to be able to renew. And you cannot sell this property if you haven't done the restoration. These are very two important things to consider. Again, it's not impossible to find something like that, but as you understand, it's more limited. The second exception, which is a bit more rare, would be if, let's say, an old factory was converted into apartments. Now, this apartment could give you the 250,000 euros of the golden visa entrance. So these are the only two exceptions on the new price thresholds in order to get the golden visa. More specific, so that it's more clear where you can buy a property with 400,000 euros and still get the golden visa, is to have in mind that the rest of Greece, the rest of the mainland, which is not Athens and it is not Thessaloniki, you can still get it for 400,000. For example, in Arta, or other places, other cities, or other towns like Sivota, you can still purchase it for 400,000 euros and be eligible for the Golden Visa program. Also, this is very important if you love islands like we do. If you go to an island with inhabitants, as we said, less than 3,100, permanent inhabitants, then like Paxos, then you can still get it for 400,000 euros, the golden visa, which is a great benefit in terms of finding a place that you love, and you can still proceed in that way. All the things that we say, because I don't want you to get anxious, but all the things that we said will apply from the end of August of 2024, not yet. Have in mind that from August and onwards, we will not be able anymore to combine properties, as I explained. Either it will be for the areas which allow you with the 400,000 euros, or for the areas which allow you from the 800,000 euros, you will not be able to combine properties. So let's say buy a property, a detached house and an apartment together, which will combine together and make the 400,000. It will need to be one property at 400,000 or 800,000 with minimum square meters of 120. So this is a new thing. It's very important. You need to have it in mind that it's not just one apartment. It needs to be also, there is a limitation also to the size of the property now. So the property needs to be 120 square meters. Please let me know in the comments if so far about the changes you have any questions, because we will change a bit the topic in a moment and start discussing about what you can do now. So if you have any questions about this kind of changes, the exceptions, or what you can purchase, or in which areas after August 31st, do let me know to discuss a bit now before changing uh, to the new program. Okay, so we have some questions on the new rules. You said that the property must be larger than 120 square meters. Does this mean it is not possible to buy a piece of land and build a property and build a small property of less than 120? That about the building and the construction, if you buy a land, okay, doesn't, if it applies, if the 120 square meters applies to Corfu, why have these changes been made? It makes it less attractive for most buyers. So thank you for the questions, and these are all valid questions that we should address. I will start with the last question, which is probably something that you are all wondering about. Why are the changes happening in the first place? Why is this happening? You have noticed that throughout Europe, the Golden Visa program was very, very high the past 5, 10 years, especially Portugal and other countries also of the Mediterranean. And you have seen the last couple of years that many other countries have completely stopped the Golden Visa program. Completely. You cannot find it, or they changed it. That happens because it was a program which made its cycle in terms of as part of the economy of its country, and we all had a feeling that something would change also for Greece. We didn't know if it would be, a termination, because the EU thought that this had done its purpose, but we knew that something was coming. So these are the new changes as part of the whole changes that are happening in Europe regarding this kind of programs. Greece is no exception, and we have this kind of changes now. Of course, because the government understands that many people are now in process of doing of buying houses and they won the golden visa, they gave us a transition period, as I explained, which will be until August. So until August, we have enough time to find the property, and with the ways I will explain later, make sure that we will be able to get the golden visa for the 250,000 euros. They also did that probably to be able to uh, protect some areas that is not very clear, but it is the bigger image we should look at and what's happening in whole of Europe regarding the golden visas. So regarding the other questions, the 120 square meters, for what we have seen so far, it refers to houses. Regarding the plots, we will need to come back to you. It refers to houses or apartments, so you cannot easily get something that is smaller and just have it in this price of the 250 or something else. The 120 square meters rule applies also to Corfu and all of Greece after the August. So it doesn't, the only thing that changes is the price. You might get something at 400,000 or more, but in other areas you might get from 800,000 or more, but the minimum of square meters will be 120 square meters. So moving on to some other restrictions that you should really know and take care for after August of 2024 is that you can still rent the property that you will buy for a golden visa, but only long term. You will not be able to sublet it and make it as Airbnb or a booking or the more short-term rentals. So all the golden visa properties are prohibited, let's say, to be on short-term rentals. You can still make a good earning by having it as a long-term if you're not taking a house here to stay in Greece. You can have it for a long term. Of course, don't forget that you can buy two houses, for example, the one for the golden visa meeting the criteria and another one for investment, which will be the way you earn. But the one that you have for the golden visa, you will not be able to have it as Airbnb. Now, for what happens for those who have already purchased the golden visa, the 250,000, and what happens for those who will buy a property in the 250,000 regulation and have a golden visa, what will happen with the Airbnb? It's not very clear. They have left it more open, which means that perhaps for them it will not change, but we cannot say for sure so far. Again, I'm saying that you can have a property for long term and still get income from there. How long is the minimum term that is considered long term? There is not a minimum long term. You could rent it for some months. It's just that you cannot rent it by the week or by day. In the terms and regulations of an Airbnb or a touristic, let's say, accommodation style, you can do a long term, 1 2 years, 6 months, but it will be with a different type of contract that is considered long term. It's more of a legal and accounting issue. These are two different type of contracts that you do, if it is a long term or if it is a short term. This is very, very, very important because you need to know that if someone is found to do the Airbnb or something different, the state says that they have the right to take back the golden visa and even impose heavy fines. So that's why we really need to have that in mind for people who are not buying now and they want to buy something for Airbnb after the 31st of August, that you should really change gears and go to a long term. Um, to a long term. By the month is considered long term. Again, as I explained, it's a different type of contract that you do. It's more of a legal aspect. So it's a different time of contract that you do, and you cannot sublet it anymore. Mm. Would you be able to enter into a longer term rental agreement with a company where the company rents the property to the tourist industry? That is the thing. That was something that you could do until now. It is unclear for the people that who have already bought and we will buy now the transition period. Probably this will be something that could go on, but after the 31st, from our understanding and what we know so far, this will no longer be possible. These are this will be probably strictly properties which will not have anything to do with Airbnb or subletting them. When we'll get clarity on whether these rules will be applied respectively shortly. That's why I said at the beginning that we are going and doing this not just from reading, of course, the new legislation, but also from the guidelines sent by the Notaries Association, so we can give you as much of a clarity as possible at this moment. Uh, for sure, what we know is that after the 31st of August, it will not be allowed for the Airbnb. For the rest, until now, it is allowed. They have not said that it is not allowed. So for now, it is allowed, let's say, until we have a different, and if we have a different mention on that. Uh, so I know that I can see from the comments that this might be a bit of a stressing point for some of you about the rentals. We need to to be very clear that after the 31st, if you buy something, then you are with the new rules and regulations, which means that no, you cannot rent it for Airbnb, you cannot rent it for short term, whatever short term means. For the people who will buy now during the transitional period, they have more chances that that will be allowed for them. Okay, that's why they allow the transitional period, and that's why we are having this meeting today. So, what we need to do is to act fast uh, and have professionals by your side so that you can find the property you want, do the due diligence, and proceed. There is no reason for panic, okay? No reason at all, because if you find the property now, by giving at least a deposit of 10% with a preliminary notarial contract, okay, you can prove for the state that you have started now this transaction. So the state says that since you started now and you do that before the 31st of August, then you can still get the golden visa at 250,000 euros. So this is great news because you can really make the most of this period, which is a great period to find the property in Corfu or in Greece in general, and Paxos at 250,000, and get the golden visa with the regulations that we have in place now. So it is very important to find the property that you really like and get the golden visa now. if you give a deposit to the seller with the pre-contract, a notarial pre-contract, I say it again, before the 31st of August, then you are inside the 250,000 threshold. You can still apply for a golden visa with the existing rules, hopefully including also the Airbnb. So it's a very important point. Please pay attention to that. And then you have time to complete the final contract until the 31st of December. So it's a very good moment now to find the property. At this point, I would like to let you know that we are moving all towards the era that is what needs to be digital. So you can even ask to have online viewings of properties if you are not about to come now in Corfu. Ask online viewings of properties uh, to be able to sort out more easily what you want. And by giving remotely a power of attorney, you can proceed to the due diligence and to the deposit and the pre-contract, even if you haven't come to Corfu yet, which is a very important thing. It means that it saves you both time and money, and you can still get the golden visa. This is something you should really have in mind and consider it, because you, by seeing a property online and be able to make a deal online, secures for you that even if you're not in Corfu right now, because we understand that everybody has heavy schedules, they can still do the golden visa at 250,000 euros. If you're planning to come anytime soon, it's very, very nice as well, and we are happy all to meet you, because then you will still be able to see in person the houses. But have in mind that this is something, a service that can be provided from a rural real estate agency, as I know. You can have online viewings, see the neighborhood, see the house, see the details of the house, make an offer, close the deal, and proceed with the rest of the procedures in a manner that is, within the time frame to get the 250,000. Excuse me for a moment, because I can see that we have some questions. If you buy below the golden visa threshold, can you rent out? The answer is yes. If you are buying, let's not get confused. If you are buying a property in Greece and you don't want the golden visa, and you want other kind of visas that we will explain below, like the financially dependent people visa or the digital nomad visa, then of course you can rent out the property. It is the specific property that you buy and is related to the golden visa that you cannot use as the rental, the short-term rental. That is from our understanding so far. So if you don't even want a visa, let's say, and you only want to come for 2 or 3 months, and the rest you want to rent it is in a short term, of course you can do it. You can always, in any circumstance, rent it as a long term, okay? Now we have that if a property is 750,000 and the 10% that is spent brings the total amount spent, does that satisfy the minimum? Give me a moment to go through the questions to make sure that everything is... We have many questions, so thank you for that. I'm always glad when you participate. Okay. The total price of the property needs to be for Athens, again, let's say Athens, Santorini, and not all of Athens, some areas of Athens, Santorini, Mykonos, and Thessaloniki needs to be 800,000. This needs to be the total amount, okay? Now, if you make a preliminary contract earlier, that doesn't apply, okay, the 800,000. If you do now a preliminary contract for these areas, the price you are getting the golden visa is 500,000, okay? So the 10% will be part of the 500,000, not the 800,000. 800,000 will be after the 31st of August, okay? Now, for the rest of Greece, now, at this moment, right now, for Corfu and Paxos and the other areas in Greece, except, as we said, Thessaloniki, Attiki area, Santorini, and Mykonos, you can get a golden visa for 250,000 euros only if you give at least 10% with a preliminary contract before the 31st of August and complete the transaction before the end of 2024. Okay? Um, we have another comment says that the golden visa program was about you getting the residency and also be able to get some income from rentals. It's not exactly like that. The golden visa was created so you can have a passport, let's say, an entrance to Europe for third country nationals. It was an extra bonus that you could rent it. That's why we believe that for the people who bought with the previous and now in the transitional period, the regulations about the renting probably will not change, okay? But for sure, for anyone who is buying after the 31st, then the short term is not allowed anymore, okay? If the property is under construction and will not be completed until after April 2025, would this still qualify? If you do the purchase now, or if you have already purchased it and you already have your golden visa, then you don't have any issues. If it is already if you are now going to purchase it, then we don't care about when that will be finished, as long as the price is more than 250,000 euros and you give now the deposit of 10% or more, okay? We have another question. If you abandoned, return your already granted golden visa, let's say you sell the house, you don't get another one, so it's not renewed or it is expired. We have another question. Would you then be allowed to do the short-term rental or the same property? Okay, if the great actually thing, from my understanding so far, if the golden visa is expired, because I haven't heard about abandoning the golden visa, to be honest, because of the many benefits I explained previously. If it is expired and you don't renew it and you go to a digital nomad visa or a independent, or if you just go to a simple Schengen visa, which is 3 months in, 3 months out, then you can rent it. Okay. We have another concern and question about someone who bought a plot of land in 2022, and if that means that the person is no longer qualified for a golden visa with the new rules. If so, will the purchase price or the current value be the relevant value? If you already purchase a land, okay, in Corfu, and the amount for the land was more than 200, or it was 250 or more, then you are still okay for the golden visa. But if you haven't actually got the golden visa yet, although you have it from 2022, I would urge you, just to be safe, to begin the procedures for the golden visa now, at the transition period and not leave it for after the 31st of August, just to be safe. We have again an answer question about the 10%. The 10% meant is the approximate amount in notarial and realtor fees, etc. Do these fees count towards? Okay. When you buy real estate in Greece, you need to have in mind that you have some additional costs, like when you're buying shoes, that you need to have in mind that you will have also the delivery services that you need to pay, which is an extra cost. The same applies with real estate. So when you buy real estate in Greece, you need to have that in mind, that approximately 9 to 10%, the additional costs are above the purchasing price. So as before, the 250,000 euros do not cover the expenses or the additional costs. They need to be the net amount given and invested to the property. So the additional costs, covering notary fees or covering real estate fees or lawyer fees, these are not part of the investment. These are more like responsibilities that we need to have or things that we need to pay as additional costs. So these are not part of the investment, and they're not part of the threshold price for the golden visa either. We have another question. If the plot, it costs less than 250K, but has increased in value, so can I use the current value? No. It is, the golden visa has been and always seems to be related to the investment, to the actual money that have been paid for the purchase. So if you bought a plot and the value has been appraised, and you have a certain opinion that this now could be worth more than 250, that's very good news, because it means that if you sell it, you can get you did a good investment and you can get something more out of it. Okay, but it doesn't make you eligible for the golden visa. I recommend, if you can, to buy another property to actually, like, reach the 250,000 now, at least by giving some deposit to make sure that you will get the golden visa, if that is what you want. So if you have a plot that is less than 250, let's say it's 200, you can get a property to cover this gap of the 50,000 and to be able to get the golden visa now. We did ask, as we were preparing this webinar today, because we knew that many of you would have questions. We did ask before to have some questions from people who couldn't be present with us today. These are a bit more general questions, so I will answer them. And of course, anyone who is more interested and have more questions can go back to our previous webinars. Some of the questions is, at what stage of buying a property can you apply for a golden visa? Would I and my dependent be granted temporary residency? After you complete the purchase of the house, you sign the final contract that is transferred, that is registered to the land registry and the cadastro now, then you can proceed with the application of the golden visa. So you need to be able to have it in your name, okay, to be registered in your name. And from the moment that you do and that applies also for after the 31st of August, okay? From the moment that the application is submitted, all the documents are gathered and you submit the application, which is happening mainly through a power of attorney and someone representing you, a lawyer. Then you can estimate that approximately 15 to 20 days you will get the first certificate that will allow you to have free movement through Greece and all Schengen area. Until your golden visa is granted and you have it in your hand, okay? How long does it take to complete a house purchase if you are a cash buyer? No, normally, and what we try is to have an open window of 3 to 3 months, which could depend on the situation and the property itself and how ready it is. So it could be a bit longer. In these cases, we recommend to have a preliminary notarial contract, which is the contract before the final contract, just to secure it, and in this case, to also secure the golden visa. And also for the golden visa, you can estimate to be also an additional 3 months. So in total, it could take up to 6 to 9 months to complete everything. In this period, of course, we said that you already have your certificate, that you did the application, and you can move freely until you have the golden visa. And we will go on, and also, what is the minimum number of months that is considered long term? We did refer to that before. It's not about the minimum of number of months. Of course, long term could be considered like 6 months on 1 year or 2 years, 3 years, okay? It doesn't have, though, to do so much about the minimum of months as to the type of contract you do, okay? These are two different type of contracts you do for long term, and of course, you cannot say long term is a week, okay? But even if it is a month that you do the contract, you need to do a different type of contract. Have in mind that if in every month, although you did for a different person, that might also raise, some flags, but there is not a minimum, let's say. At what point in the golden visa process do you need to be before 31st August 2024 to qualify for the current qualifications? Do you need to purchase to be registered before end of August, or just a buy offer accepted? Thank you for this question, because that is the point that we should focus on. Thank you for that. I know that it seems a bit terrifying what is going to happen after August. We need to really focus on what we can do right now and what you can do right now. In order to qualify for the regulations that apply now for the golden visa, you need to find the property, make a deal, close a financial deal, and then proceed with a down payment, a deposit to the seller, which, in order to be safe, you do it through a notarial pre-contract. So you need to do a pre-contract, okay, notarial pre-contract with the seller, and give him or her, or to them, if it is a family, more than 10% of the price. This way, if this happens, the preliminary and the deposit of more than 10% before the end of August 2024, then you are in for the golden visa at 250,000 euros, and the regulations that apply now, right now. That is why we call it a transitional period. That is why we felt, the obligation to do this webinar and urge you, if you're interested in the golden visa, to act fast and act now. So this way you're safe by doing, let's say again, the preliminary contract, giving a deposit to the seller, more of 10% of the property, before the 31st of August 2024, and then complete the purchase by the end of 2024, which is complete the final contract. So the state actually gave us enough time to make sure that the people who are right now interested in purchasing a golden visa will be able to do so with the 250,000 euros. So if you are one of the people that they really want a golden visa and they want to buy a property in Greece, please do it now. Find the property, close it, and proceed with that. So you don't miss the opportunity of the 250,000 euros, because it is already explained what will happen after the 31st of August for those who didn't do it, even the preliminary and the deposit before that point. So and I'm trying my best to keep up and answer everything. Okay, have in mind that some questions might be missed, but we will get back to you with an email, because you are all having many questions, and I'm very happy for that. But it's not always possible to get back to each and every one of you. So it's very important to focus on the fact that the current golden visa law remains unchanged in all other aspects. Okay, nothing else is changing from what we said. And if you do that now by the 31st of August, then you are safe and sound to proceed with the 250,000 euros and everything that it was regulated so far for the golden visa. Another thing that the state has done for the transitional period is that in case that you do a preliminary contract, and because this is the safest way, to be honest, for you, if you do a preliminary contract and you give a deposit for before the 31st of August, and let's say that something happens and that that transaction, that purchase agreement doesn't go through at the final contract for some reason, until the end of 2024, you have a small gap to find another property until and close though the deal there and close the final contract until the end of April 2025. Okay, but still that is like a very last result, and they did it as a backup for the people who actually showed the good faith and acted fast and closed the property before the end of August 2024. Give me a moment. So let's see what we can do about investment options before August 31st, 2024. There are many options. I'm sure that everyone that is here today is searching online, is speaking with people, with agents, is evaluating their options about what they can buy today and give them access to the 250,000 euros. So if a property is purchasing in area like Corfu and Paxos, that it's currently 250,000 euros, you can still buy various types of properties and be able to get the golden visa. So right now, if you want to get 250,000, you don't need to get only one property. You can combine properties. That's why I consulted the previous person with the question, I have a plot that is less than 250,000, what can I do? The best thing is to buy another plot or a property, if that is possible, and make it up to the 250,000 euros. So right now you can still find the properties you want. That is very important, very important. Find the properties you want, 250,000 euros, and get the golden visa. In other areas, let's say the Attiki, or the Thessaloniki, Mykonos, Santorini, right now you can buy a property at 500,000 euros, which there, be careful, it needs to be one property. In these areas, you cannot combine properties. So you see that changes already had started happening in the Golden Visa program in areas where they were overpopulated, let's say. So these are the things that apply right now. So if you go tomorrow and you find the property that you want in Corfu, or because in Corfu you can even find two properties, okay, and you are 250,000 or more, and you do the pre-contract, the entire pre-contract, you give the deposit to the seller, okay, then you can still apply for the visa, the golden visa. This is very important to have in mind. Even if you buy in Corfu something with 400,000 euros, and it could be a combination of properties, you can still get the golden visa, because after the 31st, have in mind that Corfu will belong also at the 800,000 threshold, and one property which will be 120 square meters. So it's a big difference. Now you are getting the golden visa for 250,000, and tomorrow, after August, you get it for 800,000 euros. It's a big difference. That's why we felt that we needed to bring this at your attention, to act as quickly as possible into getting and finding the property you want and securing your golden visa, if that is your goal. Because there are other options, but for golden visa, this will be the only period that you can actually get it with 250,000 euros. What does that mean in in reality, though? Uh, so what you can find in 250,000 euros in Corfu, or Paxos, we'll see later, but in Corfu, what you can find, and right now, these are all listed properties. You can find more, of course. What you can find now, you can find, for example, an apartment that is at 250,000 euros, or you can find a detached house, a traditional house, 280,000, or you can even have a villa for almost 500,000, and be able to get the golden visa right now. There are properties available. There is a way for everybody to check them online, to do online viewings, to check the status of the property and close a financial deal, give a deposit, okay, do the due diligence, and proceed to the pre-contract, to the notarial pre-contract. So there is a way right now for everybody to not get panicked, but to act with caution. If you are very serious and very keen into getting a golden visa with the current regulations, please do check with your agent. Please do check with the people that you are speaking about finding a house, and request them to do online viewings also. If you are coming to Corfu, as we said, or Paxos, do ask them to show to you properties that you could proceed quickly to a preliminary contract, and close your deals as soon as possible, because the season has started, and August is close, but you still have enough time to close your deals and get this deposit to the seller, so you can get the golden visa. Um, we have another question. So under current rules, I could buy two plots in Corfu that totals more than 250K and secure the golden visa. Yes, that is correct. If then close to sell, one of these plots would retain the golden visa. As always and before, if you are selling one property, uh, which was bound to the golden visa, you need to replace it with another. Okay, if you are doing this now and you are in the old regulations, okay, so you need to replace it with another. This is very, very important. The only if I got this correctly, the only, let's say, situation where you cannot sell the property is if you get after the 31st of August a property that is considered listed historical. Okay, in Greek we call it diatiriteo, and you haven't completed the restoration, then you cannot sell it. Okay, so that is the only situation that you cannot sell a property. Otherwise, I highly recommend it if you plan to sell one of the two plots that you have right now, to you know find another property to replace it. So for what is right now on the market, you can see what is ready. A ready apartment, ready houses, ready villas. These are ready to be sold right now. Another thing that you could have as an option if you want something newly built and you don't want something that is already constructed is that there is the option also for the development projects, which we will see a bit later. Excuse me for a moment. Okay. So, which is another option for you to invest right now in the golden visa and properties to get the golden visa. You can get a construction project for 250,000 euros or more, depending, as we discussed, in which area of Greece. If you purchase a plot of land and a construction project for more than 250,000, depending on the region, you will be able to apply for a resident permit. So if you want a newly built and you are about to close a deal of a development project, of a construction project, having a contract at 250,000 plus the construction, okay, it secures you that you can get the golden visa even now. What we do, what I have here to present to you, it is from the ruler of real estate, is that we do have and we do have here to show you. They have prepared for me some projects right now to see uh, which could be able to enable you to get the golden visa. You can get it with an initial payment of 30%. Okay, so it starts the construction. They are luxury villas available on some projects. You can have some of its investment get back to you, as we said, with the long term at least, and you can make sure that this is a newly built, a good construction, and you get what you see in the pictures. Some great examples of that are these development projects. So you could either get something that it has been already been constructed right now, do online viewing, or you can get something which is a development project, and you can have it and customized for you. There are many options, different kinds. What you see here, that is what is delivered to you. You have it brand new, and that is something also worth considering. In different prices, they start from 250,000 euros. So you are inside right now for the golden visa. Okay, so we have another question, and thank you. I'm happy when you do conscious, do not apologize. So, if we get the golden visa under the current 250K rules, but then decide to sell this property in the future and buy another property on Corfu, that rules apply Do we need to spend 250K minimum or 800K minimum? So you mean if you decide to sell it later, if you have your golden, okay, this I'm using also a bit of logic, okay, because this is not something I have read yet, but it's based on experience and what happened so far in Greece historically. If you have a golden visa based on the current rules, then also the renewal will be on the current rules. Okay, hope that helps. Make sure, though, if you sell something, to do it before the expiration. Okay, I suppose that would be like a caution for you. So the whole thing that we are doing this webinar and the transition period is that if you buy now a golden property for a golden visa, you will have the rules that apply now. That comes also with a renewal from what I understand. Okay, so that's why it's very important to do an investment right now, okay, or the couple few next months, to ensure that you are under the regulations for the golden visa now, for the renewals, for the price threshold, for everything. And also, I remind you that in Corfu, still now you can buy two properties, combine them and get the golden visa. It's very important. This will not be an option after August. It's very important. I urge you to give emails, call your agents, and even demand to do online viewings or close appointments for when you are in Corfu. I know that some of you have booked flights to be here on July or June. That's why I urge you to do online viewings before you come, so you have enough time to close a property and do the necessary steps to be able to secure it before August. Still, the rules will apply the same for the family now, if you apply now, or if you apply later after 31st of August. What that means? It means that you can have your spouse either through marriage or a cohabitation agreement drafted in Greece. The marriage doesn't have to be in Greece, okay? The cohabitation agreement needs to be drafted in Greece, so it's official. Um, you can bring your child or your children at the age of 21 years old. If a child is more than 21 years old, we always recommend the visa to be and the property to be in the name of the child, so the child can bring also the parents, if the goal is for the whole family to come, of course, and have the golden visa. So what is the Greek cohabitation agreement? Well, you know that if you want to make your relationship more, official, there is the marriage. Okay, so you are proceeding with your loved one to a marriage, and then you have your marriage certificate. If you want to do something more simple, though, and you do want to join your life with another person, with your significant other, there is also the option to draw a cohabitation agreement, an agreement that you are officially living together and you share the same legal rights as you do when you are spouses by marriage. So this is a way to be married, okay, in Greece as well. It's a different kind of legal procedure, more simple one. It happens in the presence of a notary, the cohabitation agreement, while marriage is more in the presence of a church or a mayor, and that is the main difference. Okay, thank you. Yeah, it's very valid question, and thank you because many might not know that. You can still bring with you at the Golden Visa the parents of both spouses. And as we discussed, the children up to 21 years old. Now, let's go through, circle back to what is important to know when you are buying real estate in Greece, intending to get a Golden Visa. These things apply both now that you're getting the golden visa, and also they will apply later on when you're doing the golden visa and you're purchasing real estate after the 31st of August. The payments for the real estate that you're purchasing need to happen directly from an account in your name to an account that is in the name of the seller. This is very important, okay? We mean the payment before we are going to a final contract. So if you give a deposit to a trustee to secure the deal, that deposit is part of the whole price. So there is no worries about that. It will be returned to you, so you can give it to the seller directly. If the transaction is not paid from your account, have in mind it will not be valid for a golden visa. You really need to send the money from an account that is in your name. Okay. One thing more to have. We have another question. Give me a moment. Mm-hmm. Ah, you have the right to stay within Greece, okay? But this is not mandatory. You don't have to stay in Greece, as in other visas that we will discuss, where you need to stay in Greece. This is optional, and you can stay outside of Greece, rent it as long term, okay? Have something, come only for holidays. You don't have to stay 5 years in Greece. And it's very important to have in mind that selling the property, the investment property, and not replacing it, at least with the current regulations, means that you cannot renew the visa. Okay, so this is very important and very crucial also to have in mind. Please let me know if there are any other questions that you wish to go through before we go to what is the actual procedure of getting the golden visa. Right now, can the deposit be sent by wire transfer from a bank account in another country if the account in that country is your name? Yes, if it is in your name, that can be done. You can send money from outside Greece, but it's highly recommended to always open a bank account in Greece, because this way, for the state and the tax authorities, it's more easy to track, the source of the money, and that's why you will not, meet with unpleasant tax issues later. So it's highly recommended to always have a bank account in Greece. It will facilitate it so much, all the payments that you need to do for the purchase anyways, and for your life afterwards. So it's not an issue because the bank account will be in your name, but it's highly recommended to open a bank account in Greece as well. Is there a deadline on when the Golden Visa lawyer has to make the application post completion of the 250,000 purchase? There is no deadline of the application. Okay, the deadline is more about the purchase itself, because the golden visa is related to the property. So the deadline to make you eligible for a golden visa is related to the property. So that's why we are saying so much that if you want the golden visa and if you want to get it with a 250,000, you really need to book a property. You really need to close a deal, give a deposit, and then complete the final contract by the end of December 2024. Okay, you need to give the deposit and do the preliminary contract before August 2024. After that, after the completion of the final contract, of course, the lawyer will do the application. There is no limit for that. Uh, so far, we don't have any limit for that. It's only related to when you purchase the property and when you do a preliminary contract to the property. Is it complicated to open a bank account in Greece? No, it's not complicated at all. We have very big banks also here in Greece, so your legal advisor or your team will let you know about what are the required steps and documents. They will book an appointment. If you give a power of attorney, that is even easier, because then you send the papers and someone else does the appointment and open the bank account for you. That is a very common practice. And I circle back to the fact that the procedures now can happen remotely. So you can do the online viewing, you can close the financial deal remotely, you can select your own a consultancy company or lawyer and give a power of attorney. So they can open for you a tax number, which is necessary both for the purchase and the Greek bank account. Open the bank account, go check the property and the deeds and everything, sign the preliminary contract even on behalf of you, okay? And you are in for the 250,000. It's simple as that. So you can definitely do it. We have another question. My daughter is 12. If we buy a property for 340,000 euros now, she would get the golden visa through our application. Could we transfer the property into her name when she is 18 for her to keep the golden visa status past the age of 21? That is a bit of a tricky question. It needs a bit more time to explain, and uh, I would suggest you have a one-to-one consultation. I will give a more general answer right now. If the daughter is 12 and you plan anyway to transfer the property to her, um, perhaps it would be good to do it in her name. But she's a minor, that's why it's a bit more complicated. It's not close to the 21. You could probably transfer in her name, but this wouldn't involve an investment, really, to keep the golden visa status. So I suggest to have a one-to-one consultation to see if it is possible to find a different way for all of you to keep the golden visa after she is 21 years old. Okay? Let's go to the steps. So the steps I explained to you actually briefly, but they are easy, either if you are in person or if you're doing it online. You find the property that you do. You can do, as we said, even an online viewing. You give your offer, or you just close the deal that goes through. You give a deposit. That is the way here things work. So you can close the deal. You sign an agreement with the seller to secure that this will be removed from the market, and then the due diligence starts. You give a power of attorney to a lawyer or a consultancy company, directly, and they start the due diligence, they check, they do the legal check, the everything. You sign a preliminary contract, the money they are released to the seller. You provide a bit more for the preliminary contract, and you are one step closer to the securing the deal and the golden visa. And then you go to the final contract directly. In case, of course, that the final contract can be, signed and all the checks happen quicker, then you can proceed to the property you want to do the final contract directly, as long as it is 100 secured that you will do it before the 31st of August. Okay, before the 31st of August. If you buy a house before the 31st of August, then anyways you can get the golden visa. Uh, so that is one thing to have in mind. So, as we said, you need approximately 6 to 9 months for everything to be completed, including the purchase itself and the golden visa. And it's very important to have someone representing you here in Greece who speak the language, to give a power of attorney to someone who speaks the language, who is a local and understands the legislations and the specific local regulations, and they know the authorities and everything to check the property for you, and make sure that it is debt free or anything, just to be sure, and for you to open a bank account, for you to go to the tax authorities and get a tax number. This is very important. And with the power of attorney, this person can even submit, after the purchase is completed, can even submit the final folder to the authorities, to the municipality, so the prefectures, sorry. So this is very important. The majority of this can happen remotely for you, which is a quite important breakthrough, this moment that we need to take decisions, while being well informative, but also act quickly. So, doing your online viewing, understanding very well the location and the house itself, and have as many information as possible, it is a breakthrough because you will be able to get um, to decide but still know what you are getting. When you apply, as we said, the lawyer or your appointed person, but the lawyer, even the consultancy companies, they assign cases to lawyers. So the lawyer will apply for you on your behalf the residence permit, and then what happens, as we said before, is that within 15 to 20 days, it will be issued a certificate that you can travel freely to Schengen until you get your golden visa in your hands. After the certificate is issued, you still they do their review, and you still need to come one time only for the biometrics data, which is they get the fingerprints, and it happens like an interview. This is the final step before you actually get the golden visa. This is a very important step. This is the only thing that cannot happen remotely. You need to have physical presence here in Greece for that to happen. But rest everything else, you can definitely do it remotely. If you don't have the option to come early now in Corfu, but you have plans, you anyway have plans for buying something here, you get the golden visa. As you know, we always say when we speak with people who are thinking to come, we are saying that you are thinking to do it, right? And if someone is hesitant, like, yes, I would like to do it 1 year or 2 years later, if you're anyway willing to do that, and you have the ability to do that also, why not doing it now? That also there are so many benefits right now from the current situation of the transition period. So um, I'm speaking for all of you that you're here today with us. If you're anyways wanted to get a golden visa, if you want anyway to have a property in Corfu and Greece, then why wait and not do it now, where you can still apply for 250,000 euros? Uh, don't be afraid even to do it online. We have all of the companies now have the ability to process things and procedures online. Just imagine that a couple years ago, not couple, but let's say 10 or 15 years ago, we couldn't even imagine getting like clothes or expensive equipment online or anything, to be honest, because we couldn't see the person. But now we do almost everything online. Our bank is online. So why to hold back when there is such a great opportunity to buy now online and get the golden visa? And you will do it also by having a face into all that, with that other person that is speaking to you and representing you. And now with the video calls or with the webinars, the way we are also communicating, you know that what you will see even in an online viewing is true, and what you are buying will reflect the reality of the status of the property. So I really hope that you will proceed this way. And if you have any questions about how you can do an online transaction and until what stage you can do it online, please do leave a comment here. I would be very much happy to further indulge into this subject about how to proceed online for a purchase or online for a golden visa. And even if you're interested, we could do a separate session on that, on what it means to proceed online on real estate right now in Greece. So, any questions, please let me know. Now, to proceed, we discussed that besides the golden visa, there are some other options as well. These options may include the very common to all of us Schengen visa, which is 90 days inside the country and within 6 months, which is the simple, as we call it, touristic visa. And then there is the other two options. It is the digital nomad visa and the financially dependent person visa, the FIP visa, which are two other great options as well. They have different requirements, and they have also different restrictions. For example, for both of these visas, you need to stay at least for 6 months each year within Greece. While with the golden visa, you are absolutely free to stay, go, come, not stay at all within the 5 years if you just want to freely travel and live in other countries of Europe. So it's up to you, really. And at this point, I think that summarizes everything that has to do with the golden visa. We are coming to an end of this session. So, any final questions towards the transition period, or how you can proceed to buy online, or if you are coming to the island, what are the steps? to make sure that you don't miss out on the golden visa, please leave it in the comments. We will do a final Q&A before the session closes. Um, and anything else, you know that you can address in your email, in your agents, um, and you will get all the answers that you need. Uh, so, in a nutshell, what you can get from ruler of a real estate agency is that you can have real estate that is tailor made for your needs. We match the right property for your needs. You can also have the residency permit and Greek citizenship consultation. You can invest in development projects and have all the investment and advisory services that you need. Uh, Again, I summarize by saying that this transition period is very important and we shouldn't overlook it. If someone is feeling that uh, they would anyways buy a property, now is the best time to make sure that you secure the 250,000 euros for the golden visa. You have it for your whole family, and you can freely travel to Schengen area. You have the rights of a EU citizen. It's a massive plus because not only you invest in something very solid and very strong such as real estate in Corfu, which has shown during the past years that it's very strong market. It's one of the best markets you can really invest your money, but you can also secure for your family amazing benefits with the golden visa. And we have our final question. Okay. So if I purchase two plots now, the total over 250K, and I get the golden visa, then I build on one of the plots and spend, say, 5K, 500K, and sell the remaining plot. The total investment in Greece is still over 250. Okay. That is a very good point, and thank you for that. With the current regulations, when you purchase a property, uh, you can do it also if it is a construction. Okay, here, since you are having 250K already and you have the visa, the building regulations are a bit different about the golden visa because it needed to be included from the beginning. For your case, I would really need to see the contracts, how they were drafted, to be able to answer to that more specifically because when we know that this is a plot which will also include a building inside later in construction, you need to prove a certain way the investment to the notary and the state to secure that they will accept it as part of the golden visa. Okay, so thank you all for coming today, for being with us. It's always a pleasure to have this discussion with you. Feel free to send any questions that they might not have been answered so far, or if there are some new questions in our email. Here it has been posted, and uh, we will be again in touch. Thank you all. Thank you. And have a lovely day. Enjoy our lovely romantic weather that we have this afternoon. And from everywhere you have seen us, California, UK, New York. I wish you all the best and see you on the island very soon. Even if you have a golden visa and your house, just to welcome you, you know that we will be here for you um, before the transaction, the sale, during and after the sale and the golden visa. Thank you all. Have a lovely evening or day and speak to you soon.